Hello there, and I hope you're doing well. Here's a quick guide on how to complete the Spire of a Watcher Ultimatum on max difficulty. Timestamps are in the description below. For those who do not know, this is part of a brand new activity released by Bungie which follows the same idea as Pantheon, but instead of raids it is dungeons. 3 dungeons have been chosen in total to be part of it. They are the Spire of a Watcher, Ghost of the Deep, and the Prophecy. Each week a new dungeon will be in rotation, and for this week it is the Spire. Before you start the activity, first head over to the right of the 9 destination. At the back of a room you will have the brand new vendor called the Emissary, where you can pick up 2 quests to complete the dungeon. Around the vendor will be weapons they can choose to attune to help increase their drop rates. On the left will be a chest that will contain 2020 gear to help you reach Pinnacle if you haven't already. There will be a second chest on the right where you can spend your nunnery manifolds that you can find in your inventory. They are collected from seasonal challenges as little tablets called Curio of the 9. They are also dropped from chests within the dungeon activities that are part of the event. There is also an elevator at the back that will take you to the platform with a third chest that can be opened after completing the dungeon. Once you have a quest, go to your destinations and the Spire dungeon will be at the bottom within the Eternity area. You can select from 3 different difficulties. The Explorer teaches you how to do the dungeon, whilst Eternity is a harder difficulty, and Ultimatum is the highest that will offer you adept variations of Spire weapons. Now I'm going to assume that you already know how to do the Spire dungeon, so with that out of the way, let's get straight into it. Once you spawn in, run forward following the path to the opening area. Just like with a regular Spire, you will need to kill the Minotaur to pick up the attrition buff that lasts for 30 seconds. You will then need to use this buff to complete the 4 sets of wires. The wires all start in the same places, 2 on the left and 2 on the right side. Now you will also have the 4 usual Cyclops spawning on the mountains above you. Kill 2 of them, 1 top left and 1 on the top right. This will leave 2 and it is easier to then dodge their shots. If you kill a third, then they will all respawn. Whatever you do, do not complete a singular wire, otherwise the subclans will spawn in. So instead, do all the wires until they are all on the last node, and then shoot all the last nodes together. However, this is where the challenge comes in, because aside from the harder difficulty, you will need to kill a Vex boss after completing the wires. There aren't many safe places on the map, so we use the top right side building. We kill the 2 Cyclops in the top corners, but they will respawn after the boss spawns in. So you have very limited time to do damage. The other option is to use the side rooms, but even then you will have to dodge the boss's shots as well as the Cyclops who will bombard the doorways. In terms of mods, Concussive Dampener with Void Resist will help a lot. For weapons, Queenbreakers seem to be doing some good damage against the boss. For supers, we had a Wealth of Survivability and a Tether to debuff the boss. Titan Thundercrash will be good damage, but we had a Stasis Titan for creating crystals, which was a good meat shield against the enemies. With the opening encounter complete, make your way down into the bunker following the usual pathways. Once you get to this room, I suggest you take your time and kill the adds before jumping across. You will still be on the higher difficulty, which means you have 1 revive token per person. Remember that there is a hidden chest here. When you jump across, run along towards the left side of the area and it will be sitting on the edge. There are also 2 collectibles hidden throughout the dungeon that you need to find. There are 6 in total that you need to collect, 2 per dungeon for the Eternal title. The first collectible is on the top of this walkway just before the elevator that leaves this area. It will be at the end, sitting on top of a console. Just before the first encounter you will have a rally flag. For this encounter you need to add clearing weapons and something with range to help destroy the Hydras. Machine guns work very well. In terms of supers, use anything for survivability. Each floor will contain some detainments, so keep an eye out for those. You will again need to collect the attrition buff and go around doing 2 sets of wires on each of the floors, just like normal. Except this time the challenge will have a 5-minute timer that starts as soon as you find and kill the first Minotaur. You need to complete all 3 floors within that time limit. On top of that, in order to get the best rewards and the title, you need to earn gold medals. To get the gold medals, only 1 person is allowed to die. If 2 people die, then you lose the gold medal and it will turn into silver. This means you need to pretty much go flawless in this encounter or as close as possible. Those are the 2 challenges. In terms of the mechanics, everything's exactly the same, except when you complete the wires. You will need to kill bosses to unlock the elevators. For the first floor, 3 mini-boss harpies will spawn in. Killing them removes the shield on the elevator. For the second floor, it will be a mini-boss Hydra. This one is tough because the other Hydras will also be harassing you. Then for the final floor, a mini-boss will spawn on the ends of the final wires, plus you will have the usual Hydras to deal with. In terms of survivability, we used Song of Flame Super to keep ourselves alive. Tether also helps to blind most of the adds, and the Titan was a backup decoy. They do not have a lot of health, so machine guns work against them, and they are also great for the ad clear. Once they die, you can collect the chest and proceed up to the next area. For the second encounter, you will no longer have a timer. You will still have to get the gold medals to earn, so again only one person max is allowed to die. There will be a new part of the challenge, which are these symbols. You will need to do the wires in the correct order, starting from top to bottom. You will notice that the starting wires have symbols, so that is how you find the correct ones to complete first. However, you can start all 4 of them at once, just as long as you complete the wires in the correct order by shooting the final node. The patterns are randomized. In one instance we had 4 crystals in a row, so we could do any of the wires. Just like before, the wires are exactly the same with the same positions. For the strategy, make sure to coordinate as to who is doing what wires. We usually had 2 people doing the wires, whilst a third did the ad clear / distracting the boss. Glaive shields are great here for blocking the boss damage and getting out of the tight situations. Before completing the final wire, make sure to kill all the harpies closest to you so that they do not interfere during damage. For boss damage, you will have a total of 3 phases to kill it in. We used Queenbreaker again, along with Bolt Charge from a Titan Barricade and a Well to boost our damage. Hunter Tether helps to debuff the boss, but since it moves, it won't stay debuffed for long. Thunder Crash here is great as you can get it off early and go straight into damage. The Warlock ran Lunafactions to increase range and reload speed. The boss's eyes seem to have some extra health, but ARs and SMGs did the trick. After damage, it is just rinse and repeat until you have killed it. Once done, carry on through the dungeon as per usual. Once you get to these rooms with the ads, don't jump down straight away. Use the beams above you to shoot down onto the ads, as it is a lot safer. You still have only 1 res token each. When the ads are cleared, you want to kill the Minotaur to get the buff as per usual, except this time the red wires have to be shot in the correct order. Before picking up the buff, familiarize yourself with their positions. To shoot them in the correct order, you need to locate the first one that is open, shoot it and it will open the second one, and so forth. There is still the hidden time limit in which you need to shoot all 5 before it runs out. In between the rooms you will have turbines. Just wait until the turbine rotates to you and then walk off the edge, and remember to try and land either on the middle of a turbine or the wires leading to the red doors. The next room is exactly the same. Use the beams to wipe out the enemies and then shoot the red wires in order. The order will change every time as it is randomized. If you fail the wires, you will need to start again and also potentially refresh your buff. Once you reach the Hydra room, you will need to do the same thing. Shoot the red wires in order. So to do this successfully, kill the 2 Hydras in the middle and then collect the buffs and then space yourselves out. You want everyone to have 2 each, with 1 person covering the 5th node. And then shoot together, since all of you can complete the wires. Don't forget about the last hidden chest underneath the staircase in the corner of the room from where you dropped. Now, just before the boss room is the second collectible. When you reach this large area, right underneath you will be the last collectible hidden amongst these boxes. You are now in the boss room. This is the hardest part due to the close proximity of all the ads. As per usual, you will need to start the encounter and then kill the Hydras on the left and right sides, followed by the Minotaurs to collect the buff to then shoot the red wires. You will have to again shoot them in the correct order, so we had 2 people shooting the wires whilst a third distracted the boss using a glaive. Now you could use a Titan Strongholds with a sword, but you will be losing a third of the damage. Glaives work just as well, but you need to be careful of your ammo. Once the red wires are done, 3 detainment drones will spawn in the middle and the reactor room, so be careful of those. You will then have to do the 2 wires as usual, except this time in the right order. In the middle of the room you will have 2 symbols, and you read them from top to bottom. Find the yellow wire with a starting crystal and begin following it to complete it. You can start on both wires, but remember to shoot the final node in the correct order. There is no easy way to do this because the boss will kill you very quickly, so the 2 people doing the wires need to work together to clear the ads. Meanwhile, the third is doing the ring around the rosy with the boss. Warlock with heat rises and glaives can distract the boss perfectly. Combine it with a balanced glide jump and you can hover around the boss and shoot it from a distance. Just keep adding the left to right shifts in your hovering to avoid the boss's attacks. Once you have 1 wire done, go and refresh your buffs before luring the boss into the reactor room. Once done, shoot the final node and run. You may have to collect your buffs again, but if so, do it quickly. You will need to shoot the final 5 red wires in the correct order, so we split ourselves up as to who was shooting which ones. Now comes the damage. You will have to do it in 3 phases. We tried rockets with Galahorn, a well, tether and thunder crash. It is enough for a 4 damage phase, maybe a 3 with optimized builds. We then swapped out for triple heavy grenade launchers. We used chill inhibitors with Envious Arsenal and Bait and Switch. We also had a Witherhorde as well as a Lumina to help boost damage. The Titan ran Cursor with Falling Star to boost their Thunder Crash, whilst the Hunter ran Orpheus Rigs for extra Mobius Quiver shots, and the Warlock ran Lunafactions for quicker reloads and extra range. This was enough to kill the boss in 3 phases with time left over. You want to make sure you have max ammo in between the damage phases, so whilst one person distracts, the other two can farm the adds in the reactor room for ammo. After the first damage phase, I suggest you run into the reactor room. The boss cannot follow you, so you can use the doorways for cover whilst killing the hydras inside the rooms. Now the challenge for this, as you can already see, is you cannot die more than once in total, otherwise you will lose out on the gold medal. It will take a lot of communication between teammates and distracting the boss for the duration of the encounter. Without that person distracting the boss, you will be run down by it. That combined with the constant supplicants will test your patience. So make sure the runners are killing the adds together and completing the wires together. The person who's distracting the boss needs to keep the distance and communicate with their teammates when the boss begins to chase someone else. The distractor should also keep the boss out of a reactor room for as long as possible to take the pressure of completing the wires. And there you have it, that's how you complete the Spire of a Watcher Ultimatum for the Rite of a 9 activity. If you found the guide to be helpful, then please like, share and post a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more Destiny 2 guides. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.